Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your Monday Night Raw post-show, man. And there is a lot to talk about in today's episode. We hear from Solo Sikoa. We actually have a main event between Solo Sikoa and Jey Uso, which we'll talk about in today's episode. We also have the beginning or the start of this AAA tournament to crown a number one contender for Roman Reigns' World Heavyweight Championship. We'll talk about that in today's episode as well. We have Austin Theory in action taking on Tozawa. Little hostility there between Alpha Academy and The Vision. We also hear from the returning Stephanie Vaquer. We'll talk about that in today's episode as well. We got Dominic Mysterio taking on Dragon Lee. We'll talk about that in today's episode as well. We also have a women's tag team matchup between the Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez taking on Sol Ruca and a mystery partner. And like I said, we also have Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa in the main event of last night's Monday Night Raw. But before I even get a full breakdown of the show, man, I want to talk about a couple things before we get into the full breakdown of the show. So, first and foremost, I want to talk about LA Knight. Now, I talked about LA Knight last week. LA Knight obviously had a match at SummerSlam, a six-man tag team matchup where he was teaming up with Royce Keys and Solo Sikoa to take on the Bloodlines, Jacob Fatu, and the Usos. So, the following Raw, pretty much after that, LA Knight has made it well known that he is going after Roman Reigns' World Heavyweight Championship. But it seems like he's facing a little bit of adversity. He's facing a little bit of a speed bump. And what I mean by that is when we looked at Raw last night, I think he was being interviewed by Kathy Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, last night on Monday Night Raw, where LA Knight says that he wants a world title matchup, or be the number one contender for Roman's World Heavyweight Championship. And then I believe it was Kathy Kelly that reiterated to LA Knight that there is a tournament currently happening right now to crown a number one contender to face Roman Reigns, but it's for the Luchadors. So obviously this pissed off LA Knight, and LA Knight was irate, and eventually he ended up approaching Adam Pearce with a Luchador mask, saying, hey, I'll put a Luchador mask on and join this tournament, and so on and so forth. And then, Adam Pearce reiterated to LA Knight that he was going to find a way to make LA Knight a number one contender some way, somehow. So, I want to talk about that. So, this is my thing with LA Knight. Do I think LA Knight is severely underrated? Yeah, I do. I think LA Knight is a guy that, number one, is immensely over with the crowd. He's a huge baby face in WWE. And I feel like LA Knight has yet to get his just due. I'll say that. Now, I have been crucial on LA Knight as far as the Bloodline. I'll be the first one to tell you guys that. And I try to keep everything transparent here, and it is the truth. I've been begging for LA Knight to find something else to do besides being attached to the hip to the Usos and the Bloodline. But I will say this. LA Knight in a title picture with Roman Reigns can go two different ways. Obviously, one, he can become World Heavyweight Champion, or obviously he will never become World Heavyweight Champion, and Roman Reigns holds on to that title until WrestleMania. Now, do I have a lot of faith and Triple H and the creative writing team right now in WWE to facilitate this idea, to crown LA Knight the World Heavyweight Champion? Absolutely fucking not. I don't. But do I believe that Monday Night Raw needs a shakeup? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the way to do that is crowning LA Knight World Heavyweight Champion. Now, I'm not sitting here saying either to take someone like LA Knight, and LA Knight has this elaborate title reign that he's going to hold the belt for a year, or 6 months, or 8 months, or 9 months. I'm not saying that. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to have a title reign shorter than Sami Zayn, when Zayn only held the WWE Championship for 9 goddamn days. But what I am telling you guys is it would shake shit up on Monday Night Raw. Absolutely. So LA Knight, like I said, he approached Adam Pearce, and he was trying to find any way possible to get an opportunity at Roman Reigns. And Adam Pearce said he's trying to find a way to make him, LA Knight, into the title picture. My other thing is this. I think a lot of people are overlooking this as well. We also have Money in the Bank in roughly about 2 months. And sometime in October, they're going to be in New Orleans for Money in the Bank. Now, a lot of people are looking at the aspect that we can see a matchup here between LA Knight and Roman at Money in the Bank. We could look at that. And there is a wild card into that as well, which I'll talk about in a second. The other thing as well, as far as LA Knight qualifying, this could also be something where people may be overlooking this, and maybe LA Knight is in the Money in the Bank tournament or in the Money in the Bank match, and he qualifies to be in the Money in the Bank, and maybe this year's Money in the Bank winner would be LA Knight. The other scenario I would say would be LA Knight having a match against Roman Reigns and not be in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the briefcase, but instead have a match against Roman at Money in the Bank. Now, the wild card in this is Solo Sikoa. Now, I know a lot of people, and I'll talk about this towards the end of the show, a lot of people were not thrilled with the outcome of the main event that took place last night on Monday Night Raw between Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa, due to the stipulation of the match. What I will say is this. Number one, first and foremost, Solo Sikoa, ever since he kind of parted ways with the MFTs and has kind of been pretty much on an island all by himself, I think he's done a hell of a job. I think Solo, a lot of people are gravitating towards Solo. Solo is becoming a babyface at this point. There was an interaction between Solo and Jey last night that we'll talk about here soon, where the fans were definitely gravitated more towards Solo Sikoa. Honestly, I think Solo Sikoa has been more over in the past few weeks than the Usos have been in the past few weeks, to be honest with you. So, my thing with Solo plays a big factor into this as a wild card. You can go in and have this matchup between LA Knight and Roman Reigns, and somehow Solo cost Roman the World Heavyweight Championship, and we crown LA Knight the new World Heavyweight Champion at Money in the Bank with the help of Solo Sikoa. There is that option as well. I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. I think, the thing of it is, bro, I think, especially with LA Knight, you had to ask yourself, even as a fan of LA Knight, if you're a diehard LA Knight fan, you had to ask yourself this question. If not now, then when? And that's the $1 million question. If not now, then when? Are they actually going to give this guy an opportunity to become World Heavyweight Champion? Or is this something where LA Knight is going to be known in WWE for the rest of his career in WWE as the best mid-carder in all of WWE? And that's what you had to ask yourself. Is WWE and the creative team have enough faith to crown LA Knight the World Heavyweight Champion? And I'm going to be honest, bro, I don't think it does anything bad at all whatsoever on Monday Night Raw to crown LA Knight World Heavyweight Champion. One, it shakes shit up, it makes things interesting, and it does nothing to Roman Reigns whatsoever. In my honest opinion. I don't know what the issue is that LA Knight or what the creative team has with LA Knight, but seemingly it's like they drop the ball with LA Knight every single fucking time. And genuinely, I believe that within this whole situation between LA Knight and Roman, I feel like a part of it from LA Knight is a shoot. Because I feel like LA Knight's getting frustrated. I feel like at the end of the day, he realizes that they don't see the potential in him like he does in himself. And that I feel like at times he's on borrowed time. I'm not sitting here saying that LA Knight is on some kind of retirement tour. But what I mean by borrowed time, and I'm going to sit here and say this now, and I'm going to say this probably towards the end, going into WrestleMania. Depending on the situation with LA Knight, we could see LA Knight have one foot out the fucking door and maybe be on the cut list going after next year's WrestleMania. There's always that one or two names that shock everybody in those releases, and I feel like LA Knight might be one of them. Because I feel like they have no idea or agenda, for that matter, for the likes of LA Knight. So that's what I mean by him being on borrowed time. Now again, if LA Knight wants to captivate a great career or a career in WWE by becoming World Heavyweight Champion and say, hey, that's it, right off to the fucking sunset, then by all means, win the championship and ride off to the fucking sunset. But that's if Triple H and the creative team give LA Knight that opportunity to crown him the new World Heavyweight Champion. LA Knight has made it abundantly clear that he is walking around Monday Night Raw every single week as the uncrowned champion. He's made that abundantly clear at this point, and he even told Roman that. Quite frankly, I don't blame him for saying it. I mean, the last time I believe this guy wore championship gold was when he was a U.S. champion and beefing with Logan Paul. Going into, I think it was SummerSlam a few years ago. Ever since then, it's been kind of stale for LA Knight. So, I mean, again, there's multiple factors into this. Obviously you had the wild card with Solo Sikoa. Solo has made it abundantly clear that he does not want to be a part of the Bloodline. He's done with the Bloodline. He likes his position of where he's at now, and he's better off on his own. He's made that abundantly clear at this point. Can't say that I blame him either. I feel like the Bloodline at this point is not a badge of honor, but it could be a goddamn curse at this point. So, and again, I mean, the way that the creative is going into the winter months and going into WrestleMania, the Bloodline's still a hot topic in WWE. It's one of those things where they see it as a cash cow for them. They can capitalize on the Bloodline and it generates dollars for WWE, and that's what they want to keep doing. So they're going to run back this same Bloodline bullshit until we get to WrestleMania. And like I told you guys before, I think I even said it last week, that looking into Survivor Series in Houston in November, I feel like it's going to be heavily influenced by the Bloodline in that War Games matchup, some way, somehow. So again, I mean, am I against it for LA Knight becoming World Heavyweight Champion? Absolutely not. Do I believe that I have faith in the fact that they're going to actually pull the trigger and do it? No, I don't. Would I enjoy if LA Knight was World Heavyweight Champion? Yeah, because it would shake shit up on Monday Night Raw, where it's not always Bloodline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It would change shit up. That's my only thing. But let's get into the show, man. And speaking of the wild card, Solo Sikoa, we start the night with Solo Sikoa. You see Corey Graves and Michael Cole on commentary, and you can hear somebody talking in the background, and it's Solo Sikoa. Solo standing in the crowd with a live microphone. Solo mocks the Usos. Solo asks, am I on the wrong show? Solo then talks about the Bloodline, but he's quickly interrupted by Jey Uso. Jey comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone, and says, you really want to do this, little brother? You really want to air out our dirty laundry? Jey says, you know what the issue is. Roman is the tribal chief, and you need to fall in line. Solo says, fall in line? How far has that gotten you, Jey? Solo says, you used to be world champion. And what happened? You fell off. Solo says, I'm not joining the Bloodline. I like where I'm at now. Jey tells Solo to shut your spoiled ass up and tells Solo that the Bloodline fed you and put you on the map. Jey says he wants a match with Solo tonight, but Jey says if he wins the match, Solo comes back to the Bloodline and Jey delivers Solo Sikoa to the tribal chief. Solo says that he accepts the challenge from Jey, but Solo says if I beat you tonight, you and this messed up family leaves me the hell alone. Some interesting stuff here between Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa. Moving on from that, we have a AAA tournament for the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's a first round matchup. It is Penta taking on Laredo Kid. Now, I thought this was a good match. It was a back and forth matchup between Penta and Laredo Kid, with Penta hitting a Hurricane Rana on Laredo. Laredo hits a moonsault to the outside, taking out Penta, followed by Laredo hitting a twisted senton for a near fall. Laredo then hits a poison Rana and a 450 for a near fall. Penta gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting a backstabber on Laredo for a near fall. Penta and Laredo then both exchange in the middle of the ring, with Penta hitting a senton to the outside. Penta then hits a Penta driver for a near fall, and then Penta hits a Mexican destroyer on Laredo Kid, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match and moving on in the tournament is Penta. Hats off to Penta for getting the win in this matchup, and we'll talk more about this tournament at the end of today's show. Moving on from that, we have I wouldn't say highly anticipated matchup, but a grudge match between Division's Austin Theory and Alpha Academy's Tozawa. Now, this match pretty much took place due to the fact of what Theory did to Otis, and Otis is now out indefinitely with injury. But the match itself, it was an okay match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Theory and Tozawa, with Tozawa hitting a Hurricane Rana on Theory in the middle of the ring. But Theory was trying to keep the pace of the match, but Tozawa hits a Shining Wizard, followed by multiple yes kicks landing on Theory. But Theory gets up, hits a devastating forearm strike, pretty much destroying Tozawa. Laying Tozawa out in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Austin Theory. After the match, Theory attacks Tozawa. Maxine then goes to the outside, hands Theory a chair. Adam Pearce and WWE officials rush to Theory and grab the chair. Pearce tells Theory, no, that's enough. But the camera views into the ring, and we see Braun Breaker standing in the corner. It looks like he's setting up for a spear going to destroy Tozawa. But all of a sudden, the lights go out, and we see Oba Femi. Oba comes down to the ring. He hits a big boot on Austin Theory. Braun then was telling Oba, come on. Braun gets in the ring. Well, Braun's already in the ring. Oba gets in the ring. Pearson officials and security are trying to stop Oba Femi and Braun Breaker. We'll talk more about this as well at the end of today's show. Moving on from that, we hear from the returning of Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie showed up and returned back to Monday Night Raw last week, where she had a little face-to-face with Becky Lynch as well as Liv Morgan. But Stephanie Vaquer comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone, and says she really missed Raw and all the fans. Stephanie says she really missed Liv and the Judgment Day being scared every single time they saw her. Stephanie talks about beating Raquel Rodriguez, and Stephanie sends a chilling warning to the Judgment Day. Stephanie says the Women's World title belongs to her. After that, Stephanie Vaquer is interrupted by former Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone, and says the man has come around. Stephanie says, "What do you want?" Becky says she wants to beat the piss out of Liv Morgan. Becky says that Liv is destroying the Women's World title as well. Becky says she doesn't know much about Stephanie, but what she does know is that Stephanie has made a huge impact ever since she got on Monday Night Raw. But Becky wonders if Stephanie is a badass or if Stephanie's body just gives up. Becky says the world title doesn't need any more bad luck. Becky then tells Stephanie she doesn't deserve the title. The title deserves her. Stephanie then tells Becky not to get in her way. After that, Liv Morgan attacks Becky Lynch from behind, but Becky hits a Beck-sploder on Liv. Stephanie then rushes back into the ring, and Stephanie and Becky get face-to-face once again in the middle of the ring. We'll talk more about this at the end of today's show. Moving on from that, we got our next match of the night. It's Dominic Mysterio, the AAA Mega Champion, taking on Dragon Lee. Now, this is not a part of the tournament, but just a regular singles matchup. But the matchup itself was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Mysterio and Lee, with Dragon Lee and Dominic Mysterio both exchanging in the middle of the ring. Dragon Lee hits a Hurricane Rana on Dom, followed by a release German suplex, but Mysterio gets up, hits a Michinoku driver on Dragon Lee for a near fall. Lee then gets up, hits a foot stomp off the top rope, landing on Dom for a near fall. But Mysterio gets up, hits a 619, followed by Dom going for a frog splash, but Dragon Lee had the knees up and countered the frog splash. But Dragon Lee ultimately gets up, hits the finish on Dom, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Dragon Lee. After the match, you can see Dragon Lee celebrating with the fans, but standing behind Dragon Lee is none other than Big Cass. Cass quickly attacks Dragon Lee, hits an East River crossing on Dragon Lee. After that, Javon Evans is here. Evans attacks Big Cass, but Cass hits a devastating lariat and a big boot, taking out Javon Evans. It looks like what Big Cass said last week is coming to fruition, where he said he wants to stack bodies. Some interesting stuff here from Big Cass. Moving on from that, we have a women's tag team matchup. It is the Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez teaming up with Roxanne Perez to take on Sol Ruca and Io Sky. So Raquel and Roxanne come out to the ring. Solo comes out to the ring as well. She's waiting for her partner, and that partner is none other than Io Sky. Now the match itself, it was a decent match. It was a back and forth matchup between both teams, with Raquel and Roxanne keeping the pace of the match. Sol hits a moonsault to the outside, followed by an X-Factor, followed by a Shining Wizard. Roxanne then hits a springboard moonsault for a near fall. Io hits a German suplex, followed by a running knee strike. Sol Ruca hits a German suplex. Io hits an Acai moonsault to the outside, taking out Raquel Rodriguez. This allows Sol Ruca to hit her signature Soul Snatcher on Roxanne Perez in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3. And your winners of the match are Sol Ruca and Io Sky. Hats off to Sol Ruca and Io Sky for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our main event of Monday Night Raw. It is Jey Uso taking on Solo Sikoa. Now, the stipulation of this match, if Jey Uso beats Solo, Jey then will deliver Solo Sikoa to the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, seemingly having Solo Sikoa return to the Bloodline. Now, if Solo Sikoa wins, then he gets to part ways, if you will, from the Judgment Day. Now, the match itself, it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa. Jey then was arguing with Sikoa. Sikoa then was yelling at Jey, "I ain't going back to the Bloodline." Sikoa then hits a diving headbutt for a near fall, followed by a Samoan drop. Sikoa then hits a hip attack for a near fall. Jey then applies a sleeper hold, but the hold is broken. Sikoa then hits a spinning heel kick. Jimmy Uso is here. Jay hits a spear for a near fall. Jay then goes for another spear on Solo, but Solo counters it. And Solo then hits a Samoan spike, taking out Jimmy Uso. Jay then hits a spear on Solo, goes to the top rope, hits an Uso splash off the top rope, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Jay Uso. Hats off to Jay Uso for getting the win in this matchup. Couple of things I want to talk about, man, when it pertains to Monday Night Raw before I get the hell up out of here. Number one, was it a solid show? I thought it was, honestly. I thought this was a decent show. I know some people were disappointed with the outcome of the main event, but overall, I thought this show was a decent show. But I do want to address the elephant in the room, and it was the main event. There was a lot of people that were upset with the outcome of the main event. There were some people that were thrilled with it, but there was also people that were also pissed off and not happy with the main event. Look, man, at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not sitting here saying that you guys are wrong for feeling the way you feel, but this is my opinion, and this is why you guys are here. My opinion is this. I'm not pissed with the outcome of the main event for multiple reasons. Number one, this is going to shake shit up. And the way I think people are overlooking this is the fact that the run so far that Solo Sikoa has had over the past few weeks, a lot of people think that's going to come to an end. And it very well could be. It would be a huge mistake, but that could be the case. My way of thinking is this, and I said this earlier in the show. You had to look at the situation between Solo Sikoa and LA Knight. You know LA Knight is trying to get to Roman's World Heavyweight Championship. Solo and LA Knight even had an interaction backstage before Solo had his match. And Solo told LA Knight, hey man, this ain't just about you and Roman. You have to worry about every single person in this damn bloodline. You need somebody to watch your back. And Solo giving LA Knight that chilling warning about the bloodline. You ain't just facing Roman. You're facing the Usos, and you also have to deal with Jacob Fatu, who's a loose cannon. So just watch your back. So we had that interaction between Solo and LA Knight. And then we get to the main event. With the stipulation being, like I said, if Jay beat Solo, then Jay Uso would have to deliver Solo Sikoa to the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And that's exactly what happened. The way I think about this is the fact that we could see a matchup here between LA Knight and Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. We know that that match is going to happen. Let's say Solo falls in line and he joins the Bloodline as, well, I would say halfly in the Bloodline. He says he's in, but he's not, mentally. We get to Money in the Bank. We get to that main event match between Roman Reigns and LA Knight. Solo Sikoa comes out Roman's thinking that he's there to help Roman, but Solo then turns his back on Roman, hits a Samoan spike, which allows LA Knight to hit a BFT on Roman, pins for the 1-2-3, and becomes a new World Heavyweight Champion. Solo in this situation could be the next Sami Zayn when Zayn turned his back on Roman when he was an honorary Us in the Bloodline. Right now, WWE right now, and the creative team is sitting on a great idea, a money-making idea if they actually pull the trigger on it, and have Solo be pretty much a turncoat for the Bloodline. Yeah, he's in, but he's not 100% in. Roman has a matchup against LA Knight at Money in the Bank. Solo comes out. Roman thinks that Solo's there to help him out in the match. Solo turns his back on Roman, hits a Samoan spike. This allows LA Knight to hit a BFT on Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring, pins for the 1-2-3, and crowns LA Knight the first time ever World Heavyweight Champion. That's my mindset, and that's what I mean by Solo being the wild card into all this shit. Now, again, Roman Reigns is going to be on Raw next week. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Solo Sikoa. We're probably going to see Jey Uso as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out here between Roman and Solo, because Solo has made it abundantly clear that he doesn't want to be back with the Bloodline. I think Solo is going to play a wild card into all this shit between the Bloodline, Roman, and even LA Knight for that matter. Because either he can help LA Knight or he could be a part of the Bloodline once again. We also had to look into this as well. We know that War Games is coming up at Survivor Series. We got roughly, 3 months to build towards Survivor Series. It's going to be in Houston, Texas. And I will say this, and I will go on a limb and say this, just based upon what I saw this past weekend. There's another a member of the Bloodline that has been working his ass off in the Indies. Had a matchup at House of Glory. and his name is Zilla Fatu. Now, I made comments about Zilla a while back ago. Zilla also made an appearance at the Performance Center. There's a lot of talks about Zilla Fatu. I would be 100% shocked if Zilla Fatu is not in the WWE relatively soon on the main roster, and Zilla not a part of this year's Survivor Series, being that Survivor Series this year's in Houston, and I believe Zilla Fatu lives or is from the Houston area. How that factors in, I don't know. We could have Zilla joining the Bloodline, or Zilla being on his own, helping out the likes of maybe Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, I don't know. But I'd be shocked to see if Zilla Fatu was not a part of this year's Survivor Series festivities. I'll say that, considering what I saw this past weekend when he wrestled on the Indies, to be honest with you. I think he's ready. I think time is well overdue for him to make his debut in WWE. So I could see that. But I think the whole situation with Solo is, a lot of people are going to shit on it because they like the fact that what Solo has been doing for the past couple of weeks. I can't sit here and blame y'all for it. I think what Solo's been doing the past few weeks has been better. Honestly, has been better than what the Usos have been doing for the past few months. I'll say that. And I feel like Solo is finally getting his time to shine. And I think the worry with a lot of fans is now that he's going back to the Bloodline, it takes away the spotlight and the limelight away from Solo Sikoa. And I can't sit here and say that I blame y'all. I don't. But my vision with Solo is Solo is going to be a turncoat, in my opinion, and cost Roman Reigns the World Heavyweight title against LA Knight at Money in the Bank. That's my opinion. That's my vision that I have with this. If not, then yeah, it's going to be same shit, different story, or pretty much with the Bloodline and Solo Sikoa once again joining the Bloodline, which then means it would be Fatu, Solo, the Usos, and Roman Reigns. Which, I mean, right now, look, on paper, that could very well be the case. We don't know. I'm not sitting here saying that Solo's going to cost Roman the World Heavyweight Championship. But what I do know is that usually I believe that the War Games matchup is a 5-on-5. Well, if Solo's joining the Bloodline, that's Roman, Fatu, Solo, and the Usos. There's your 5 right there. If Solo stays with the Bloodline. The other issue is, I would say issue, but Zilla Fatu, if you bring him in. Because if you have Solo staying with the Bloodline, then you have to look on, okay, well, who's going to be on the opposite side of that cage, and who's going to be those other 5 guys? Are we looking at Seth Rollins? Are we looking at Drew McIntyre coming back and getting involved? I don't know. I mean, there's so many. LA Knight will definitely be involved. There's so many different variables that go into how this is going to play out going into War Games. Now, I know War Games is about 3 months away from now, and maybe I need to pump my brakes on that. I'll admit that, but I'm just looking at the longevity of this situation here. They have a great storyline right now with Solo. And I'm hoping WWE and Triple H don't drop the ball with what they're doing right now with Solo. Because Solo, whether people like it or not, is a wild card into all this shit. Because we know that he has ties to LA Knight. And obviously there's ties to the Bloodline. We know this. We know that Solo Sikoa teamed up with LA Knight at SummerSlam to take on Fatu and the Usos. Where LA Knight teamed up with Solo and Royce Keys. We know this. We also know that Solo had an interaction with LA Knight before his main event match against Jey Uso, where he warned LA Knight, hey man, you're going to need backup. It's not just you and Roman. You got the whole damn Bloodline breathing down your neck. You're going to need that backup. You can't go in this as, Captain America and going in solo, by yourself. You can't be doing that. And Solo Sikoa was warning LA Knight, hey bro, you can't do this shit by yourself. Because it's not just you against Roman. It's you against Fatu, the Usos, and whoever else that Roman wants to have to pretty much beat your ass. So it was Solo giving LA Knight that warning. You can't go in this by yourself. You can't do all this shit solo on your own. You're going to need backup. You're going to need help. You're going to need assistance with this shit with you and Roman. Because it's not just you against Roman. It's you against the whole goddamn Bloodline. So that's the wild card, I think, into all this is Solo Sikoa. And we're going to see how this plays out as well. The other thing I want to talk about, too, and I want to address this, is Dominic Mysterio. Now, there's some fans of Dom, and there's some fans that are not fans of Dominic Mysterio. Me, personally, I don't mind Dominic Mysterio, to be honest with you. I think he's really coming into his own. What I will say is this. There was comments made, I believe, from Mysterio himself that has been all over Twitter, stating that the fact that Mysterio is frustrated with how he's being booked on WWE compared to AAA. No shit. No shit. And quite frankly, he ain't wrong with saying that. The guy hasn't won a fucking match, I believe, since May, if I'm not mistaken. And here we are now in August. I mean, it's been months since this guy's won a match. So I don't blame Mysterio for being pissed off and irate on how he's being booked on the main roster. I mean, Christ, the guy had a SummerSlam matchup against goddamn Danhausen with a Money's on a Pole match that the guy also in that match fucking lost. So, yeah, if I was Mysterio, you goddamn right I'm going to be frustrated. I think it's criminal with what the hell they're doing right now with Dominic Mysterio and how he's being booked. And my thing is, with Dominic Mysterio, I'll say this. If you guys have a working relationship, which is clear as day at this point, with you working with AAA, and y'all pretty much owning AAA, and you got Undertaker or Mark Calloway down there being the head booker for what AAA is doing right now, my thing is this. I believe there is an issue with Dom backstage on the main roster. There's an issue. You can tell the fucking difference, man. If you see Dom on the main roster, the guy looks like he's fucking miserable. I seen Dom on AAA, and I seen Dom a part of AAA events, and the guy's happy, he's elated, he's thrilled to be there, he's ecstatic to be there. But you watch Dominic Mysterio on Raw, bro, he looks absolutely fucking miserable. And my thing is, if I'm the Undertaker, and I'm the head booker for this shit, you got your main champion, the AAA Mega Champion, the guy that's pretty much the flag bearer, if you will, of your promotion, the one that you're actually being the booker for, having matches where he's taking an L after an L after an L after an L, and having matches, dumbass matches with Danhausen, with the Money's on a Pole match at SummerSlam, where once again Mysterio takes another L. Then if I was Undertaker, I would have to ask the question to Hunter, what the fuck are you doing here? You're making this other company that WWE's a part of look like shit with having our main champion, our AAA Mega Champion, taking an L after L after L after L. At this point, Dominic Mysterio can't even buy a fucking win at this point. Even if he would have won the Money's on the Pole match, he still can't buy a fucking win at this point. So my thing is this. I can understand him being fucking frustrated, 100%. Here this guy is pretty much carrying a company on his back, being the AAA Mega Champion, and you can't even buy this guy a win while he's holding this championship and representing that AAA brand. So if I was Undertaker or Mark Calloway, you goddamn right I'm going to be a little fucking frustrated. This is what we're doing here? Here's my world champion that I'm representing this brand. I'm the head booker for this company down here in Mexico in AAA. And I have my AAA Mega Champion, my number one guy, on Monday Night Raw, taking L after L after L after L while representing AAA and walking around with AAA's biggest prize of them all, being the AAA Mega Champion. I have a fucking problem with that. I think that's fucking bullshit. I think the fact that this guy, like I said, came and fucking begged for a win at this point. So yeah, I don't blame Dom for being fucking frustrated. You don't even want to put Dom in the fucking tournament. Yeah, he's AAA Mega Champion, but imagine having your AAA World Champion against Roman on Raw in Mexico City. Think about that shit. And my thing is this. If we get to Monday Night Raw when we're in, Mexico City, you better damn well have Dominic Mysterio a part of that fucking show. I'm going to tell y'all right now, because if they don't put Dom on that fucking show or in a match, that's fucking criminal. I'm sorry. And with all due, and my thing is this: if you're going to have this guy keep taking L after L after L after L on the main roster of Monday Night Raw, holding that AAA Mega Championship, I said the same shit about El Grande Americano. Take Dominic Mysterio and put him on AAA. Because not for nothing, look, I respect the hell out of Dominic Mysterio and what Ray's doing and what he's trying to do down there in AAA. But my thing is this, bro: you have to ask yourself this: is it benefiting Dominic Mysterio at all being on the main roster right now, getting his ass kicked when he has matches, and being miserable at that as well, rather than seeing him down there in AAA, being the AAA Mega Champion? I think it would benefit Dominic Mysterio immensely, just having a run or an excursion for that matter, being down in AAA only. You do 6 months excursion down there in AAA, and you keep Mysterio down in AAA only for the next 6 months. What the hell is it going to do? Because not for nothing, with all due respect to the Judgment Day, right now, the only thing going best with the Judgment Day right now would have to be Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez. McDonough's not doing shit. Ever since Finn left and went on his own, McDonough's really not doing shit. I don't see McDonough in an Intercontinental title picture. I just don't. Right now, to me, McDonough's a fucking lackey at this fucking point. He's a standby guy. Mysterio is the other guy that, yeah, people love in the Judgment Day, respect him, but they're not doing shit with him. I would take Mysterio and say, hey, you know what? We're going to have you go down to AAA for the next 6 months. What the fuck is it going to do? What's so bad about him being down to AAA? Considering the fact that he's our AAA mega champion. And that's the thing that pisses me off so much with Triple H and the writing team for WWE. If you got no plans for this fucking guy, then have him go down to AAA. Because, at this point, AAA and Mark Calloway or Undertaker see something in Dom. Because if they didn't, they would not have crowned him AAA Mega Champion. He's got a highly anticipated matchup where he's going to defend that Mega Championship at Triple Mania against El Grande Americano. And Triple Mania, as far as I'm concerned, Triple Mania is AAA's pretty much their WrestleMania. Hell, they had to move from one casino to the MGM Grand Casino because they're selling out tickets. That match sells itself between Dom and El Grande Americano. Now, when I crown El Grande the AAA Mega Champion at that event, you better fucking believe it. That matchup that they had between El Grande Americano and OG Americano, man, is a poetry in motion match. Incredible match. Incredible moment for professional wrestling. But Jesus Christ, man, like, what the fuck are we doing with Dominic Mysterio, man? It is fucking criminal. And how are you supposed to represent a brand with AAA knowing that they're basically partnered at this point, or they own the company, and you're having this guy, their mega champion, taking an L after L after L? What is the fucking deal here? And here's Ray. Yeah, Ray's obviously got ties to Dominic. Dominic is Ray's son. But Ray's also the general manager of AAA. It's like, bro, you got to be seeing this shit and be like, what the fuck is going on here? Dom can't buy a win. And then Dom's going to take L after L after L until what? We get the fucking Triple Mania in September? At that point, it's a fucking shoo-in that El Grande is going to beat Dominic Mysterio because Dom can't buy a fucking win at this point. Come on, bro. Come on. Hey, oh, my God, man. To me, I don't get that shit, bro. I don't get it. And speaking of the Luchadors, I want to talk about this tournament. Now, I know some people are either all for this tournament or against it. I'm not against it. It gives an idea of AAA talent being showcased on Monday Night Raw. And not for nothing, it also gives the opportunity for Roman Reigns to also defend the World Heavyweight Championship on Monday Night Raw. That crowd in Mexico City is going to be absolutely incredible. That's going to be a hot crowd when they go to Mexico City. It's going to be a hot crowd. And the fact that the World Heavyweight Champion is going to defend that title against a AAA guy or a luchador in Mexico City is going to be absolutely incredible. But I will say this. The one downside of this tournament is very predictable. Very predictable. I would say that the finals, or at least the winner of this tournament, would be Penta. And we would have Penta versus Roman for the World Heavyweight Championship in Mexico City. Penta is immensely over. He's one of the biggest luchadors in the company for WWE. He's immensely over. This is Penta's tournament to win. Now, with that being said, WWE would be some dumb sons of bitches if they do not book in the finals of this tournament Penta versus Phoenix. It writes itself. Brother versus brother. A matchup that a lot of fans want to see. Absolutely. And Rey Fenix, as far as I'm concerned, is still the AAA Cruiserweight Champion. You make that match. If they fumble the fact of seeing Penta versus Phoenix in the finals, somebody fucked up. That has to be the finals of the tournament. It writes itself. The creative team literally don't have to do jack shit. It writes itself. These guys are brothers. Two of the best luchadors in the world right now. You book Penta versus Phoenix in the finals of the tournament. And have Penta go over. And Penta faces Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship in Mexico City. But you make that finals of the tournament. If you guys don't, then you fuck this tournament up. It has to be Penta and Phoenix. With all due respect to the other talent that's in this tournament. Laredo Kid, Dr. Wagner Jr., I'm not familiar with all the names in the tournament. But La Parka, Psycho Clown, all those guys, with all due respect to those individuals, this has to be Penta and Rey Fenix in the finals. Absolutely. And not taking anything away from the talents in the tournament. Like I said, La Parka is great. Now, I was a big fan of the original La Parka. You know, you have La Parka. You also have Dr. Wagner. You also have, you know, Laredo Kid, who just lost in the tournament when he went up against Penta. You have some really good, talented individuals in this tournament. To me, the final should be Penta versus Ray. Penta goes over, and he faces Roman Reigns. But if you don't have Penta versus Ray Phoenix in the finals of this tournament, then you fucked this shit up. It writes itself. Brother versus brother, the Lucha Bros in the middle of the ring together for the first time in WWE, and they face off against each other. Absolutely. It writes itself. And it'd be a hell of a match for the tournament finals. Absolutely. But that's the match to book. 100%. You know, I think also, too, before I get out of here, the whole situation with Liv, look, I called it when I watched SummerSlam. We saw the return of Becky Lynch. We saw the return of Stephanie Vaquer. This needed to happen. We did not need to see Liv Morgan with another 100-day title reign when she didn't do jack shit with the title. And Becky's 100% correct. Liv Morgan shit all over this world title. Now that we see Stephanie Vaquer back and Becky Lynch, now we have some top names to face off against Liv Morgan moving forward over the next couple pay-per-views. Especially, I believe, Money in the Bank's coming up in October. So, and I don't know if they're going to, you know, pull the trigger on WrestlePalooza or not before we get to Money in the Bank. We could see WrestlePalooza maybe, you know, September. I don't know. But that needs to happen. And I'm happy that, you know, Becky is back. I'm happy that Vaquer is back. And now we got some suitable contenders to face off against Liv Morgan for that women's world heavyweight title. So I'm not against that at all. You know, but again, my thing is this. Raw was not that bad last night. I know some people are still pissed with the outcome of Solo Sikoa. We don't know how this is going to play out, ladies and gentlemen. My thing is this. In my opinion, Solo is the turncoat. Solo says he joined the Bloodline, but then he also, maybe he calls Roman the World Heavyweight Championship and we crown LA Knight the new World Heavyweight title. I know that might be a snowball's chance in hell for LA Knight, but if that does happen, it shakes shit up on the main roster and specifically Monday Night Raw. I'm not against it. Or Solo falls in line and he joins the Bloodline. Because like I said, we got War Games coming up in the next, 3 months? There's your 5 right there. Roman, Fatu, Solo, and Jimmy and Jay. There's your 5. Only problem is now we have to find the other 5 to face off against the Bloodline. Because like I said, you got Fatu, you have Roman, you got Solo, and you got Jimmy and Jay. Who's going to be on the opposite side of the cage at War Games? LA Knight, and who else? That's the $1 million question. I know we got some time to build towards that, but we don't know how this is going to play out. My opinion would be that Solo's a turncoat. He says he's with the Bloodline, but he turns his back on Roman. Same thing that Sami Zayn did when he was the honorary Uce. Now, I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact than what Zayn did. I thought what Zayn did and turning his back on the Bloodline will never happen again. That reaction was incredible. But could we see a similar situation that what Sami Zayn did to Roman, but instead of Zayn, it's now Solo Sikoa? Because Solo was hell-bent and telling Jay, I ain't going back to the Bloodline. But now that Solo lost this match, Jay has to deliver Solo to the Tribal Chief. So we're going to see how this plays out. And again, Roman Reigns is going to be on Monday Night Raw next week, from what I understand. So again, we're going to see how this plays out for Solo Sikoa. But again, man, I thought Raw was not a bad show. It's definitely entertaining and kind of left you with a little bit of a cliffhanger here going into next week's Monday Night Raw with the issue with Solo Sikoa possibly rejoining the Bloodline. So we're going to see how things play out next week on Monday Night Raw. But with that being said, though, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful and remember, stay classic. Peace.